Let's rip the bandage off right now. HBAR holders are blind. Not blind because Hedera doesn't have potential. It does. Not blind because the tech is weak. It's one of the strongest. No, you're blind because you only look at the shiny headlines and close your eyes to the stuff that actually matters. You'd rather scroll Twitter for hopium than face the cold, ugly numbers staring you in the face. If you're interested in this topic, hit the like button, subscribe, and type interested in the comments, and I will give you a heart. You walk around like Hedera is some kind of invincible risk-free bet. It's enterprise grade. It's governed by Google, IBM, Boeing. It's carbon negative. It's fast. It's the future. Yeah, I've heard it all. And technically you're not wrong. But here's the punchline. All of that doesn't guarantee your bag goes up. As of 2025, less than 45% of Hedera's maximum supply is circulating. That means over 55%, tens of billions of tokens, are still locked up in treasury and scheduled to drip into circulation through 2031. You heard that right. Another 6 years of steady supply unlocks. Yet most of you act shocked when price dips after every unlock event. Shocked? That's like being surprised water is wet. But here's the kicker. You don't want to see it. You pretend the supply doesn't matter. You convince yourself, oh, those unlocks are for ecosystem growth, incentives, partnerships. It's bullish long term. Sure, technically true, but in the short term, it's still dilution. More supply chasing the same demand equals downward pressure. That's economics, not FUD. Then you post bullish headlines as if they're proof you're about to retire early. Let's talk about the 2.4 billion transactions Hedera processed in January 2025 alone. More than Ethereum that same month. Sounds incredible, right? But let's get real. Most of those are microtransactions tied to network services, fractions of a cent. They're great for showing throughput, but they don't equal massive buy pressure. Bragging about those numbers while ignoring price action is like bragging your restaurant served 1 million free samples last year while forgetting you only sold 200 real meals. Here's where I get mad, because this blindness isn't innocent. It's willful. You choose the comfort narrative over the hard truth. You tell yourself enterprises are building, adoption is growing, as if adoption automatically means your portfolio moons. Wrong. Enterprises aren't speculating on HBAR. They're not buying and hodling like you. They're using it for infrastructure. Cheap, fast, stable rails for their business. They want boring stability, not meme coin volatility. Do you think IBM cares if HBAR hits $5.00? Do you think Google executives are sitting in meetings asking how to pump your portfolio? Get real. They care about whether Hedera cuts costs and integrates with their systems. Your moon bag isn't in their strategy deck. But here's the twist. Then when price doesn't move, you lash out. You scream manipulation, you blame whales, you accuse the council, you point fingers at everyone but yourself. It's not manipulation, it's mechanics. It's supply and demand. And until you face that, you'll keep getting blindsided. Let me tell you about Linda. Linda's a 38-year-old accountant who bought HBAR in 2021 because she saw Google on the council list. Every month, she tells her husband, don't worry, adoption is coming. Meanwhile, every token unlock drags the price sideways, but Linda refuses to sell. She's blindfolded by hopium. And the saddest part, Linda thinks patience automatically equals profits. No, Linda, patience only pays if you understand the game, not if you sit in the dark chanting soon. And you know what's even scarier? Most HBAR holders are Linda, too comfortable to face reality, too stubborn to admit risk, too blind to see that being right about Hedera's tech doesn't automatically make you profitable as an investor. Here's where the humor comes in. HBAR holders are like people who brag about their gym membership but never actually work out. Look at me, I joined the best gym in town. Cool, but if you don't lift weights, you're still out of shape. Just because you bought into one of the best blockchain networks doesn't mean you'll automatically get rich. You still need timing, discipline, and a plan. But then here's the punchline. Being blind isn't even your biggest problem. The real danger is that you love being blind. You'd rather stay in your echo chamber, retweeting hopium charts than confront the truth. And when you do that, you're not an investor anymore. You're just a cheerleader. Now let me give you a wake-up call. Hedera is powerful, it's growing, it's being adopted globally, from the Australian digital dollar pilot to $5.4 trillion, 0 cents daily FX trades in the UK testing tokenized collateral. That's real, that's happening, but those headlines don't automatically translate into your portfolio doubling tomorrow. Adoption equals utility, not instant speculation. If you keep pretending otherwise, you're going to miss the real opportunities. So here's my challenge. Stop being blind. Open your eyes to the supply mechanics, to the psychology traps, to the difference between adoption and speculation, because until you do, you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. Now let's make it interactive. Drop the word blind in the comments if you admit you've ignored tokenomics because hopium felt better. I'll know who's actually listening. And while you're at it, smash that like button. Not because I need it, but because if I just made you uncomfortable, that means I'm doing my job. Stick around, because in the next segment, I'm gonna rip apart the psychology trap, the way HBR holders sabotage themselves over and over. And trust me, if you thought being blind was bad, wait until you see how stupid your own brain has been making you. Let's stop pretending for a second. The biggest reason HBAR holders are broke isn't token unlocks, it isn't whales, it isn't the council, it's you, your brain, your emotions, your clown level behavior that sabotages you every time the market twitches. You treat investing like a slot machine. You throw money in, pull the lever, and when 3 green candles don't line up, you cry scam. Hedera didn't fail you, you failed yourself. Let me introduce you to Jake. Jake's 29, lives in Chicago, and thought he was a genius because he bought the dip at $0.08. When it climbed to $0.12, he panicked, muttering, "Supply unlocks are coming, I better sell." A week later, HBAR hit $0.15. Jake FOMO'd back in, convinced it was finally mooning. Then it dropped to $0.11. Jake rage quit, blaming manipulation. That's not investing, that's self-destruction, and half of you are Jake. Hedera's treasury unlocks tens of millions of tokens every single month, all the way through 2031. This is public info. But every time price dips, investors act blindsided. You scroll Reddit screaming, "What happened?" What happened is you refuse to look at the calendar. You'd rather plug your ears and yell, "HBAR $100 0 cents" soon than face reality. But here's the kicker. Then you double down on hopium. You jump into Telegram groups full of moon boys chanting next stop $10 0 cents like toddlers refusing to nap. Meanwhile, the real investors, the ones with patience, strategy, and actual understanding, are watching you flail like fish on dry land. And let's talk about adoption headlines. In 2025, Hedera helped Arcax, Lloyds Bank, and Aberdeen tokenize money market funds for FX trades. Huge news. The UK trades $5 trillion, $400 billion, 0 cents daily in FX and derivatives. That's massive. But here's the painful truth. Did your portfolio move? Nope. Because enterprises don't care about pumping retail back. They care about efficiency and compliance. Your dream of a moonshot is their nightmare. But then you post the headline anyway. Look guys, adoption is here. Adoption? Yes. Price explosion? Not necessarily. That's like bragging your boss gave you more responsibilities, but conveniently forgetting to mention he didn't give you a raise. Here's the humor you probably won't laugh at. HBAR holders remind me of dieters who buy kale smoothies, take gym selfies, and post motivational quotes online, but then eat an entire pizza at midnight. You say you're long-term holders, but the second price dips 20%, you panic sell. That's not long-term, that's cosplay. And don't get me started on the echo chambers. You only follow bullish accounts, you block anyone who posts criticism, you live in an alternate universe where every chart magically points up and every doubter is labeled FUD. That's not research, that's denial. You don't want the truth, you want dopamine. But then here's the irony. You call yourself early. You say, we're in before the crowd, that's why price is flat. Okay, genius. If you're early, why are you panicking like you're late? Being early means being patient. It means waiting years, not weeks. You don't plant an apple tree today and complain tomorrow that there's no pie. And let me tell you about another investor, Marcus, a 45-year-old teacher. He bought HBAR in 2021. He read every Treasury Unlock report. He watched every council announcement. He didn't panic sell, didn't chase hopium, didn't block criticism. He staked his tokens and waited. Marcus isn't blind. Marcus isn't Jake. Marcus is awake. And when adoption demand finally collides with circulating supply, Marcus will be holding, will you? Some of you treat HBAR like Tinder. You swipe in, swipe out, ghost it when it gets boring, then come crawling back when it looks hot again. No wonder your portfolio looks like your love life, messy, inconsistent, and full of regrets. But here's the twist. Your psychology trap isn't just costing you money now. It's setting you up to miss the big payoff later. Because the truth is, Hedera's long-term game is strong. Enterprise adoption is real. Tokenization is scaling. Stablecoins like the Australian digital dollar, AUD, launched on Hedera in 2025. This isn't hopium, it's headlines. The problem isn't Hedera. The problem is you won't last long enough to see it. So here's my wake-up call. Stop sabotaging yourself. Stop chasing dopamine. Stop pretending patience equals doing nothing. Real patience means studying, strategizing, staking, and surviving volatility without losing your mind. Now let's get interactive. Drop the word clown in the comments if you've ever panic sold low, bought back higher, and then cursed whales. Yeah, I know it's most of you. Own it. While you're at it, smash that subscribe button. Not because I need the ego boost, but because deep down, you know I'm the only one telling you the stuff you're too scared to admit to yourself. Everyone else whispers sweet lies. I slap you with the truth. Stick around, because in the next segment, I'm going to show you the nightmare scenario. Hedera doesn't even need you. It can succeed without retail. Imagine living in a Hedera-powered world while your bag stays flat. That's not a possibility. That's the risk you're blind to. Let me give it to you straight. Hedera doesn't need you, not your bag, not your tweets, not your blind cheerleading. If every retail holder sold tomorrow, Hedera would keep marching forward like nothing happened. And that, my friend, is the terrifying truth you refuse to face. But wait, you've been telling yourself retail is the foundation of crypto? Without us, there's no adoption, no liquidity, no growth? Wrong. Hedera was never built on retail hype. It was built on enterprise muscle. Its backbone isn't 1,000 Reddit traders. It's the governing council. Google, IBM, Boeing, Deutsche Telekom, Standard Bank. These aren't moon boys looking for a 10x. These are giants cutting costs, streamlining operations, and preparing for the next wave of digital finance. In 2025, Hedera powered the Australian digital dollar, AUDD, a 1-1 stablecoin tied to the Australian dollar and selected for pilot use by the Reserve Bank of Australia. That's central bank level adoption. Huge. But here's the question. Did AUD pump your bags? No, because stablecoins aren't designed to moon. They're designed to be boring, reliable, and invisible. They validate Hedera's tech, but leave your portfolio yawning. But then you keep bragging about it. You post on Twitter, HBAR is doing big things with UD. Get ready. Get ready for what? A flatline? Because that's what stablecoins deliver. Stability. That's their purpose. And you, the hopeful retail investor, keep confusing infrastructure success with speculative paydays. And let's not forget tokenization. In 2025, RCAX, Lloyds Bank, and Aberdeen used tokenized money market funds on Hedera as collateral in a real-world FX trade. The UK alone trades $5.4 trillion, 0 cents daily in FX and derivatives. That's massive. Revolutionary. But did your bag explode? Nope, because these deals don't happen on Coinbase. They happen behind closed doors at enterprise scale. Your $1,000, 0 cents bag doesn't even register on their radar. One day you'll swipe your card, send a wire, or get paid at work, and Hedera Rails will be quietly moving it in the background. You'll be living in a Hedera-powered world without even realizing it. And your HBAR still sitting there like a couch potato. Because Hedera's silent success doesn't guarantee your speculative success. But then here's where it gets cruel. The very thing you dream about, the global adoption of Hedera, could be the very reason your bag never moons. Enterprises hate volatility. Banks don't want a token that spikes 40% one week and drops 30% the next. They want stable costs, predictable fees, boring reliability. Your moonshot fantasy is their nightmare scenario. Let me roast you for a second. HBAR holders are like people bragging about highways getting busier while crying that asphalt stocks didn't go up. You're living in the wrong narrative. Infrastructure wins by being invisible, and Hedera is on track to become the TCP/IP of digital finance. That's revolutionary, but it doesn't mean retail investors automatically get rich. When's the last time someone told you they got rich buying TCP/IP? Exactly. But here's the twist. Then comes the paradox. If Hedera adoption keeps scaling, at some point enterprise demand collides with finite supply. The constant unlocks end. Circulating supply plateaus. And suddenly, all that boring stability flips into scarcity-driven demand. That's when retail holders who didn't quit, who didn't panic sell like Jake or blind themselves like Linda, accidentally win big. The question is, will you still be here or will you have rage quit at the bottom, crying scam, while Marcus, the teacher, quietly staked his way to the finish line? Marcus bought HBAR in 2021. He wasn't blind. He read Treasury unlock schedules. He understood enterprises weren't there to pump him. They were there to use Hedera as plumbing. He didn't panic sell. He staked. He watched the odd launch, the RCAX trades, the billions of transactions per month, and he held. By 2025, Marcus isn't rich yet, but he's still in the game. Meanwhile, Jake and Linda, they're gone. They sold out, gave up, and missed the moment when supply and demand finally balance. Tokenized money market funds grew 7,400% since 2023, surpassing $7.4 billion, 0 cents in assets under management by early 2025. Some of that is happening on Hedera. This is real adoption, not speculation. The trap is your psychology won't let you sit long enough to see it through. So here's the wake-up call. Stop confusing enterprise adoption with instant price pumps. Stop pretending Hedera exists to make you rich. It doesn't. It exists to make finance faster, cheaper, and cleaner. You're either smart enough to align with that long-term, or you'll rage quit before the payoff. Let's make it interactive. Drop the word ghost in the comments if you finally realize Hedera could succeed without you, leaving your bag invisible while the world runs on it. While you're down there, smash the like button, cause I just said the thing you've been too scared to admit out loud. Everyone else feeds you sugar, I'm feeding you the steak. But don't go anywhere, because in the next segment, I'm gonna break down the final wake-up call. The moment when Hedera's boring success could finally collide with speculation, and why only the awake investors will survive it. That's where the real decision gets made. Let's cut through the nonsense. You spent years blindfolded ignoring token supply, ignoring your own clown psychology, ignoring the fact that Hedera might succeed without you. You've told yourself bedtime stories while your portfolio looks like a flat tire. Enough. And here's the brutal truth. Hedera's future isn't waiting for you, it's already happening. The Australian digital dollar launched on Hedera in 2025. Arcax, Lloyds, and Aberdeen ran tokenized FX trades on Hedera's rails in a $5.4 trillion, 0 cents daily market. Tokenized money market funds exploded 7,400% since 2023 to over $7.4 billion, 0 cents, some of it happening right here. That's not hopium, that's headlines. But here's the kicker, then none of it guarantees your bag moves. Because Hedera isn't here to be your lottery ticket, it's here to be infrastructure. Boring, reliable, invisible. That's its superpower and your biggest risk. Now imagine two futures. In one, you're Linda or Jake panic selling, rage tweeting, chasing dopamine hits from bullish memes. In 2030, you look back and realize you lived in a Hedera-powered world but never profited because you couldn't stomach the grind. In the other future, you're Marcus, the one who read the reports, stayed patient, and actually understood the game. Which story will you tell? Because here's the paradox. Hedera doesn't need you, but you can still win if you're smart enough to stay awake. The supply unlocks will end. Enterprise adoption will collide with scarcity, and when that moment comes, only the investors who didn't blindfold themselves will still be holding. So let's get real. Drop the word awake in the comments if you're done being blind and ready to think like an investor instead of a gambler. Smash that subscribe button, not because I'm begging, but because you secretly love hearing the truth you've been too scared to admit out loud. Hedera's future is locked in. The only question is, will you be awake when the payoff finally comes? Or will you still be blind, clapping for adoption while your bags collect dust?